Hey, Marcel, great to see you. What are you doing in the studio?
Hello, friend. I was just flying back, so let's go have some lunch.
We were just talking about what to have on the show today. I figure we could do a show on taxes since it'll be the income tax deadline in the U.S. soon.
Really? Like when?
Well, like today.
Oh, really? Someone should do something about that. That's the thing with all the papers that my accountant does, huh? I don't know what they're doing there, but they make all the little papers come out as one big paper, you know? Something like so. Oh, excuse me.
You have an accountant do your taxes?
Of course.
You've never filled out a tax return?
Me? Why should I? I don't like tragedies, except maybe on the stage.
Would you like to try it out for the show?
You mean the thing with all the little peppers? Okay. How hard could it be, you know? You put, the numbers in the little boxes and so on?
Exactly. So we'll just have some mock papers and figures and we'll have a segment on how to fill out a tax return.
Featuring me?
Sure, featuring you.
Okay. So I'll have someone with me and then we should do segment all nice and neat, voila. And then lunch. Back in an hour or so.
Oh, actually, I should also mention for some of the folks watching, we're going to have a tax season reading list in the info box with lots of links for all that fun stuff. So feel free to browse some of those.
Oh, I don't feel so well.
Oh my gosh, what happened to you?
You know, I can explain, but I don't want to.
Seriously, are you okay?
No, how to segment. I might not even be alive right now.
No how-to segment then?
No how-to segment. I said things, you know, and it won't be pleasant. Excuse me, I just need to, this paper needs to go somewhere.
Okay, guys, the how-to segment is out. Thank God we're not live.
Back again. Quelle horror! It's like a flashback to the episode in Depardieu swearing he'd moved to Belgium or Russia over the 75% tax idea. Silly idea, really. Only, sadly for me, I'm not in Belgium. Also, there's no cake in the staff cafe. So not only did my head almost fall off with finding what to do with all of these little papers, but also, you know, there's no cake. Bien, it's not so urgent, but I thought I'd mention it so someone can make sure that happens, you know. I've suffered enough. For the sake of news reporting. I was going to lie down, but you know, the world is still spinning. But while I was back there, you know, I read in the show notes that a study by the Pew Research Center finds that a third of Americans actually like to do their taxes. They like to do their taxes? Who on earth are these people? I think the weekend they did that poll, maybe they only asked people who had, like, sunstroke. Either that or they were talking to people on the street saying they want to ask them questions for a poll, and they were just like, taxi! Taxes, it's like someone robs you and you can only say thank you so very much, not even sarcastically. Except instead of just politely robbing you, may I have your wallet? Thank you very much. Goodbye. Hope I don't see you again. First they make you sit for an hour while they read you the dictionary. And then they hit you with it. If someone wants to read from the Pew Research Center poll, the link is in the info box. In case you like to read incredible stories like that, or, you know, unicorns and people who love to do their taxes, or would rather do absolutely anything in the world except your taxes. Like watching this video, huh? Believe me, I feel your pain. Trying to find which numbers go and which little boxes and where the one goes, and somebody forgot something. 12 minutes of that, I don't even want to live anymore. Me, I'm going to go lie down. In the meantime, you can watch this episode on outlandish tax deductions to give you a few more minutes away from the papers. I'll have nightmares all day long now.
Really?
Me? No, not really. I'll have martinis for lunch. What are you reading there? Those are tax tips for the box?
Yeah. There are some general tax tips and tax tips for investors and, you know, late filers, freelancers, that kind of thing.
Why do you need to file a tax extension? I was unconscious.
I don't think that's on there, Marcel.
I'll be the first, you know. Tax tips for procrastinators. Well, that's me.
Would you like to read it now?
Maybe later.
And that's today's monkey business. Take care, folks. It's tax season out there.
I don't feel well.
Lunch. Okay. Oh, I thought for tax season in France that was May 2013. It's tax season out there.
Oh, how horrible.
What's wrong?
I was having a little nap, but I had the most horrible nightmare.
What was it?
I don't know, but there was a lot of paper. It looked something like filing my tax return. Oh la la, probably need therapy. Hey, is that tax deductible? Probably not. I'm just waiting for my comet. This tax season invention's going to be the death of me. On the upside of this, no more taxes. I know they say in this world nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes, but I tell you, if I was walking down a dark alleyway, I'd rather meet death than taxes. Nobody called you, Grimsy. But since you're here, come and have lunch. It's not tax deductible either, but I don't care. What? No, I don't think you can deduct lunch with that as a business expense, but I'm in a good mood anyway, because if you come to lunch, it's a very busy restaurant, but I bet we get a table all to ourselves, huh? Strategy. Yes, we'd like a table for 1, 2, and death. Come on, Grimsy, huh? Don't forget your side.